What's going on, everybody? How are you today on this Coffee with Brodes? It's Monday morning. The Eagles just kicked the shit out of the Detroit Lions. I mean, that's just what happened. They absolutely obliterated them. Weird. Did not see it happening the way that it played out, but I'm happy that it happened the way that it played out because I don't want to be a team that loses to the Lions. I don't want to be a team that has no idea what they're doing and they're losing to the Lions. That's just not what I want to be. I don't want to be that type of squad. Therefore, there were people that were rooting for them to lose so they could, Howie Roseman could get fired. No, stop it. You do not want to be a team that is losing to this type of squad. And they went out there and they answered the bell. They answered the plant. They answered the plant that is legitimate. It happened. They answered the Nick Sirianni plant with an absolute ass kicking. Amazing. I did not anticipate it looking that way to that level, but I'm proud that they did, and I'm curious how they bounce back from, or not bounce back, but they learn from this. Now I'm going to move over a little bit because I don't think I'm in the middle of the screen and it's bothering me. Am I now? I don't know. But now this is too long. It's Monday. We gotta maneuver things around a little bit. Am I more in the middle of the screen? I have OCD. Brodes, the Eagles won, but what does this really mean if the Cowboys just keep winning? Well, I mean, it's irrelevant to think that this has anything to do with the Dallas Cowboys. This season and the Cowboys and the two battling, it's really irrelevant. Now, that Cooper Rush throw was amazing, and the story, watching his parents, all that, take away hating the Cowboys, it's pretty fucking cool just to see that, honestly. It's like you could see the pure excitement and joy that he has in his body of, like, just a cool sports moment. But yes, we hate the Dallas Cowboys. But what do you mean? This season was never about how do they match up against the Cowboys. This season was always about what do you have in Nick Sirianni? What do you have in Jalen Hurts? And I think we're learning more about Jalen Hurts. You look better when you take the ball out of his hands. You look better when you ask him not to throw as much. And with Nick Sirianni, I don't know, is he going to be able to do this when the team isn't the Lions? What happens when you play a good run defense team? What happens when you play a smart defensive coordinator that says, let's keep the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands. Don't allow them to run. See if they can beat you when we make them throw. It works against the Lions, but all these adjustments, Jonathan Gannon having dime package out there and putting guys in the box, that might not work when there's actually a deep threat on the other team. There was no deep threat. Jared Goff and that offense, there's no deep threat. So there's no second thinking or first thinking, which is what Jonathan Gannon always believes in, which is keep everything in front of you. You don't have to worry about the passes behind you against that offense. Now, see, this is where everything's wrong. This is where everyone has this wrong mentality of, if you can't win the championship, then you'd rather lose every game and tank on purpose because it's irrelevant to have a season where you win a handful of games. It amazes me that people are upset that the Eagles won because, well, now their draft pick's going to be lower. It's week 8. It's week 8. It is way too early to start talking about tanking and losing and draft picks and this and that. You have to let the season play out. You have to actually think about winning games and allowing this team to grow and this coach to grow and this staff to grow and this quarterback to grow. There are fans out there that are disappointed because now the Lions have the first pick and the Dolphins now have the second pick. It's not if you don't win a championship, you should win 0 games because then anything that you do is absolutely irrelevant. That's just not the case whatsoever. You have to learn about your head coach and see what you have, and you have to see for the future of what is this? What is this experiment of Jonathan Gannon and Nick Sirianni? And for them to actually be any good, they're going to naturally win some football games throughout that process, and that's okay. It's ridiculous. There are a lot of people that feel that way. It's neither. It's not tank mode and it's not compete and win. It's because they're not very good to do that. It's what do you have? And whatever you have will naturally happen. If you're a 5-win football team, that will naturally happen. If you're a 6-win football team, that will naturally happen. And right now, it seems that you are a team that will beat the teams that they should and lose to the teams that they shouldn't. That's what it seems right now. Now, there is an area where you get stuck in purgatory and eventually you have to strip things down like you saw with the 76ers, like you saw when they had Iguodala and you went in the tank mode. But that's not where the Eagles are at right now. The Eagles are in a totally different territory of assessment mode. So there are times where when you do get stuck and you do get in this awkward 6 win, 6 win, 6 win, 6 win, 6 win. Okay, how do we get out of 6 wins? And how do we get stuck out of this average to below average area? But that's not where they are right now to start having that conversation, which a lot of fans are right now. And I think it's just absolutely embarrassing, in my opinion. Well, the difference is they're utilizing him differently. Jonathan Gannon was utilizing Ryan Kerrigan, Josh Sweat, Fletcher Cox in all these areas that made no sense to their past success. And now they start switching things up. And what do you know? Now, keep in mind, the talent on the other side blows. The talent on the other team stunk. But there is legitimacy to utilizing your players in different roles and actually putting them in a position to succeed. We do have some breaking news. Titans running back Derrick Henry suffered a potential season-ending foot injury during Sunday's win over Indianapolis. Sources reported on ESPN Henry is undergoing an MRI today to determine the full extent of the damage. Damn. I mean, that's what look, that could happen at any point at any time, obviously, but, that's a big fear of having someone with such a massive workload nonstop. Is Rager a bust? Well, it's way too early to fully say that, but yeah, obviously he looks underwhelming compared to where his compensation was. I don't think he's as bad as everybody else tends to see, but does that mean I would label him a first round? Absolutely not. No, not even close. I think that there are creative ways to utilize him that they're just not doing. You saw that yesterday, though, with the jet sweeps and getting him going actively while running before getting the ball, things of that nature. So when he gets the ball, he's already in motion full speed, and he can utilize those legs and the speed that he does have. He might not be able to consistently beat cornerbacks one-on-one at the line of scrimmage and gather that separation that you would want to grab so you can just toss up the football and have him go beat anybody. Like, he can't do that, but he can do more than what he was doing prior to yesterday before the injury. So I think he's got more left in the tank than he showed us to this point of his NFL career. But at this point, he's also banged up and he's injured, and he left the game with that ankle injury, did not return. Where does that put him in terms of, coming back and returning? Howard running back 1, Sanders running back 2. Well, in terms of skill level, Miles Sanders is clearly the first running back in terms of skill, but his passing game, the lack thereof, is definitely something that limits him. Jordan Howard, just a lower the shoulder kind of guy. I knew this was going to happen. Like, there's going to be teams that can actually stop the run. There's going to be teams where you can't just lower your shoulder and run through the line of scrimmage the way that they were able to yesterday. And then Jordan Howard and Boston Scott are going to look different. Yes, it worked. It worked against a miserable team. And quite frankly, it can work next week as well against the Los Angeles Chargers. You have the availability to charge through. There's going to be teams where it doesn't look that way. And what happens when it does, when that does happen. Well, yeah, you could prefer a bigger back all you want, but there's legitimacy in this league of having being a threat in the passing game and how that changes with the way the defense plays and all of that. Now, Derrick Henry, there's certain backs that work in this mean way, but, there's yesterday, don't let yesterday fool you on just, and I like Jordan Howard. I think he should be on this team. He should not be on the practice squad. They should utilize him and run the football under center more and give this team an opportunity to work at a 2nd and 4, 3rd and short, shorter opportunities to gather, to gain a first down, to move the sticks. That all is true. Just don't get overblown here just by one game against the Lions. No, there should be no nitpicking. No nitpick. Jared Goff completed with however many of it. He was bad yesterday. He was awful yesterday. He was horrendous yesterday. As much as I'm disgusted in Jonathan Gannon's mentality, there was nothing wrong with what Jonathan Gannon dialed up yesterday. He pushed all the right buttons. The completion percentage with Jared Goff yesterday was really flawed. That doesn't really dictate or tell you what we witnessed yesterday in terms of Jonathan Gannon. To this point, you can look at all these completion percentage and say, yes, there is a correlation. Yesterday, nah, not so much. There's really not much to nitpick there with Jared Goff. Carson's upset with Jalen throwing for 100. I don't know. Did you watch the game, Carson? Why? What? I don't understand why that would make you sick. The team won due to a great game plan and execution. Why does that matter? He also rushed for 70 plus. Yeah, he's got problems when it comes to when you have to rely on him to throw the football a lot. We know that. He missed on the 3rd and 3 when he rolled to his left and he tried to hit Dallas Goedert that got deflected and he missed. I believe it was a wide open Devontae Smith down the field. He misses that. That's something that we know about already, but I don't understand how you watched yesterday's game. And I mean, he might not be the answer, but okay. I mean, that's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. But yesterday, you watched that game of 44-6, and you wake up saying Jalen Hurts stinks. God bless you, because I don't have that type of thought process where I have my concerns and I have my questions. But after a 44-6 blowout to be 3-5 on the season now, not that I have any long-term goals here with this season, the last thing I'm worried about is, he only threw for 100 yards. Yeah, well, they fucking destroyed the Lions, so I don't care. I don't care. I already know my thoughts on Jalen Hurts. Nothing has changed from this week to last week. But for that to be your thought this morning, God bless you. I don't want to have that mind. I'm glad I don't. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's just where this team is. It's really hard to watch this team. But how do you wake up today and say that? That's all. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, we understand it's the Lions, Carson. Nobody's disagreeing with that. But I bet you before the game, Carson, you were saying they're probably going to lose to the Lions. Just like a lot of other, they're going to lose to the Lions. They could lose to the Lions. It's possible that they could lose to the Lions. That's what we were wondering as they kicked the ball off. And instead of maybe losing to the Lions, instead of being in a dogfight with the Lions, instead of winning 14-10 where we're extremely underwhelmed, but they found a way to win, they fucking annihilated them 44-6 and proved that they're not even in the category of the Lions. That's not the line, right? We're not excited just because they're not on the same level as the Lions, but you're the same person that thought they could lose, and they showed you the complete opposite, which was pure dominance. And you have to take that for some sort of context here, and you can't just rule that out as if we knew this was an excellent team where there was a 0% chance that they could lose. All right? I mean, it's really not that difficult to understand. I mean, there's a difference between complaining about and then recognizing, right? It's a good win in terms of if they lost this game, this locker room and this fan base and this team, they're heading so damn south. This was a morale saver, an important morale saver to keep the fight happening. That's what it was about. That's what we got. Yeah, okay. Definitely thought we would lose. Exactly. That's my point. So you're the same person. So these are the type of people out there. The Eagles suck. They're going to lose. They're awful. They're going to just be brutal against the Lions team. Then they win 44-6. Who gives a shit? They're awful. The Lions stink. Which one is it, man? Which one is it, right? Let's use our brain here. We don't have to throw a parade because they won, but we can use logic and conversation. That's all I'm asking for, using some brain cells. That's all. That's why I'm here for. Where are we here? Thoughts on trading Cox? No. A first-round pick was never, ever, ever, ever in the reports of what they would acquire, what they would get in return for Fletcher Cox. They said a mid-round draft pick, mid to late-round draft pick, which is insanely different than a first-rounder. I'm not trading him at all. I'm not trading him. There's no way that I am going in a position to trade Fletcher Cox for a late-round draft pick, or even a mid-round draft, a 4th, 5th, 6th rounder, anything along those lines. No, thank you. I think he's still got value for this team. He's nowhere near where he was when he was 24 years old, but there's still enough left in the tank where I'm taking that over. You know what a fourth-round draft pick is? Milton Williams. Now, there's also Josh Sweat and Avonte Maddox. Those are fourth-round draft picks as well. But at the end of the day, I think Fletch can still provide you enough where keeping him is warranted. And by the way, you'd have to take a big cap hit, and that's not something that this team is going to be willing to do on top of it. So it's just, I don't see it. I don't think that it's even, no one. The whole first thing, like, don't even mention it was a mid to late round draft pick. Mid to late round draft pick. So. Thought the team's morale was perfect. No one's super happy on the beatdown. It was almost as if it was expected. Yeah, I mean, it should have been. You're right. That is what you do expect, but not so much this year with this team and the way that they played so far this season, you know? I can't give too much credit because it's the Lions. But when being objective, I'll give credit to a team that won on the road. And yeah, they're winless, but they showed in the past they had fight. Yeah, they did. They just played the Rams, and they battled hard with the Rams. They played the Ravens early in the season. They battled hard with the Ravens. But last week or yesterday, they just became a no-show. And I wonder if they thought it was going to be easier, if they did not anticipate the Eagles coming out with that type of fire. They thought they'd be able to walk over. But I would imagine if you're the Lions and you look at your schedule, you see the 2-5 Eagles coming to town after their putrid effort against the Vegas Raiders, and that would actually motivate you to raise your intensity instead of thinking, hey, we could walk over this team. You're an 0-7 football team. You can't walk over a damn soul. But, like, this is a winnable game. And how many times can they look through their schedule and say, this is a winnable game? Not many times. So with that mentality, you would figure that there would be some effort involved, more effort, because, hey, we can maybe come out 1-7 instead of 0-8. There's not going to be many more times where you can say that as you enter the matchup, for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, the last handful of games, the last handful of weeks, you've been entering Sunday like, damn, this blows. This is awful. Here's an annihilation coming your way. Now, it wasn't entertaining in this regard. At the third quarter mark, my feet are up. I'm just, when was the last time there was a crucial moment, crucial crunch time, and that one play on 3rd and 5 was the game, and the Eagles made the play, and then they go down and score, and, high leverage situations. You watch Gardner Minshew and the second team offensive line go in there. You watch the second team on the whole entire defense out there, and that's when the Lions eventually punched in their 6 points, was basically when you put the white flag up and said, we don't even care anymore about this game. We're throwing all of our secondary pieces out there. It was boring from that aspect because it wasn't competitive, but it was nice to watch your team actually be on that side for one side, for one moment. Doesn't happen. Oh, here we go. The roots are starting to be visible from the ground. I don't know. This set us up for at least a conversation of they saw a blueprint. Will they end up being better based off of what they saw last week? Will they utilize some of those game plans or some of those philosophies in the game plan against different opponents? Because it should. Playing more aggressive defensively, having guys in the box, playing press coverage, getting up in the face of the quarterback instead of this passive, nonchalant defense that they played to this point. The difference is no one was a threat on the Lions. There's threats on other teams. So when there actually is a threat on the other team, I know Jonathan Gannon is going to be scared, and he's going to play 2 safeties high, and he'll worry about, well, if we play soft coverage, they won't beat us over the top. I know it's coming. I'm not dumb. I've watched Jonathan Gannon to this point be a defensive coordinator. That's what he believes in. That's what he thinks about. What? Why does Gardner Minshew, nothing matters about Gardner Minshew. 0 matters. 0. TJ Edwards and Davion Taylor played 60+% of the snaps. Alex Singleton played 34, just to put it in perspective of the linebacker position, knowing that they scratched Eric Wilson before the game, which was somewhat interesting, knowing that he was brought in here to be one of your top players at that position, and then he's getting health bombed, 8 weeks into the season. Why? No one. Gardner. It is so irrelevant. Gardner Minshew. I don't understand this fascination with Gardner Minshew. Who cares about Gardner Minshew? Apparently, a lot of people do. For what reason? Because Jalen Hurts isn't the guy. Gardner Minshew's not the guy. You know what this city thought who was the guy? Nick Foles. You know who fucking sucks? Nick Foles. You know who was better than anything Gardner Minshew ever was? Nick Foles. I mean, it's really not that difficult to understand here on why Gardner Minshew and the fascination is outrageous, but what do I know? What do I know? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. You think you're really going to come in here and say that they just traded Slay for a 3rd and a 5th round pick to Tampa Bay? Come on, man. Come on, man. Minshew, the Minshew thing is just because the guy had a mustache. If Gardner Minshew did not have a mustache, nobody would be calling for him. Like, no one was calling for Joe Flacco. No one was calling for Nate Sudfeld. No one was calling for any of these guys. Gardner Minshew has a mustache and like a cool overall story. And then now everybody thinks that this guy's a legend and he's elite and he's awesome because of like what he looks like. Seriously, if he had no personality, if he had no sort of energy surrounding him, no one in their right mind would sit here and call for Gardner Minshew. It's seriously just the personality that people fall in love with. Oh, yeah. You know who else had decent numbers, Carson? Jalen Hurts had decent numbers through 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season. Oh, he's got the same numbers in yardage in his first 7 starts as Pat Mahomes. He's got the same amount of numbers as Andrew Luck. He's in the top 4 of the most yards of quarterbacks in their first 8 starts. Yeah? Yeah? How about that? Yeah, the same person who says numbers is the same person that hates Jalen Hurts, who has good numbers. That makes a lot of sense, Carson. Come on, man. Lack of brain cells today, it seems. I'll tell you what is fantastic, though. WinView. Are you tired of getting fleeced by the house? Are you tired of spending time researching players and teams only to end up short? Welcome to WinView. WinView is the only app where skill elevates you over the competition and into the money. Play against family, friends, fans, and rivals during live sporting events. Put your sports knowledge to the test with contests before games and during games to experience watching in a way that you never have before. Forget about spreads, salary caps, and over-unders. All you need to do is answer questions about the game that you love. Yesterday, the Braves ended up losing after hitting that grand slam in the first inning there. For all you baseball fans, there's Perfect Game Progressive Jackpot that started at $5,000 and it continued to build after every postseason game. All you need to do to win is make 10 correct predictions for any MLB game to win, and you're in the money with the prize. It's that simple. Plus, they're doubling your deposit bonus up to $100 for all first-time users. Your first deposit will be doubled. That means if you deposit and spend $50, you'll get $100. If you deposit and spend $100, you'll get $200 in bonuses. This is a perfect bonus to take advantage of the MLB, the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, everything. Check out winview.tv/Brodes down below in the description. You hate that Jalen still tries to run with it? What do you mean? He's a dual quarterback who ran for 70 yards yesterday. I don't understand. Why would you hate that Jalen Hurts? That's like saying, I really hate that Lamar Jackson uses his legs. I really hate that Kyler Murray uses his legs. I really hate that Russell Wilson uses his legs. Why would you hate when they use their legs? That's what makes them a threat in this league. That's what helps them. That's what's putting them in a spot to succeed. Yeah, I know. I didn't even put it into my mind about the whole Atlanta tie-in and the blown save yesterday until or just like not the blown save, but the blown lead. They're up 3-1. What happens if it goes back to Houston? They tie it up 3-3, and then they have this epic, insane comeback down 3-1 in the series, and Atlanta loses another heartbreaker. They fall apart. Another championship caliber type of team that just falls flat on their face. Oh, it would be devastating for the city of Atlanta, but it would be funny for us watching from a distance for sure. Anyone else sad for Dan Campbell? No, not really. Not at all, actually. Not even a little bit. Not even a tiny little bit am I worried about what Dan Campbell thinks or feels in terms of his football team. Was there like actual tears coming down or something? Was there Dan Campbell? I type in Dan Campbell, and the first thing that comes up is Dan Campbell fired. Are there videos of him crying after the game? Here you go. He said, I did not set the tone and the tempo properly. Obviously. That was bad. It was a sea of trash. Yeah, he looks defeated. He looks defeated for sure. Head down. That's a bad look, though, for a head coach. That just shows, I mean, you see the fact that he cares, but at the same time, you have to be a leader of men, and you're hanging your head, you're keeping your head down, your body language is poor. You got to go up there. I'm not saying put a smile on your face. You can allow the people to see that you're visibly frustrated with that type of loss to a team like the Eagles, who did not head into the week as a squad that you would anticipate throwing that level of beatdown and haymakers consistently at your throat and at your chin and at your eye and at your nose and at your forehead and all over your body. But at the same time, I mean, come on. I don't feel bad for Deuce, though. I mean, Deuce was like, oh, yeah, I'm fired up. Well, yeah, I don't feel bad for Deuce. Got your ass kicked. Good. There was that video surfacing around that John Clark took of Howie Roseman and Deuce meeting up in the end zone before the game started. And he was like, hey, what's your favorite caption of this video, right? And it kind of reminded me a little bit of, it's obviously different, but remember when Draymond Green was talking to Kevin Durant and he's like chirping in his ear a little bit, telling him things? It's like, hey, what's your best caption for this? And, people are like, oh, Deuce is going to get Howie back. And, oh, yeah? Fuck it. No, not even close. I don't worry about that at all. Yeah, I mean, Carson Wentz, he had that tough interception before he went downfield to tie the game back up to go to overtime, and then he threw a poor ball in overtime with the interception. So that's what I thought about. I thought he made some really poor decisions there towards the later half of the game, which absolutely sucks, especially when you're playing against a team and it's good for the Eagles. I know that people are wondering, like, are they going to sit him down? No, they're not going to sit him down because they're going to fight for a wild card spot. And like, that's where people are. This whole thing is so funny, right? Oh, the Eagles should tank the rest of the way. It's week 8. It's week 8. Everyone is still going to play their games because no one gives up at week 8. You continue to play. You continue to battle. You don't just like week 17, week 18, week 16. Yes, you start to mentally process the draft order and how things can change the complexity and then change the idea of what you're going to do. Week 8, it's not time to start sitting all of your players. There's way too much football left. These guys are competitors, and they want to go out there and play the damn football game the right way until the very last second. It's week 8. So the loss stings for them, for the Indianapolis Colts, because it's against their rival, and they're battling that way out with the division and all. But they're still going to keep playing. Stop being worried about the tracking of his snaps, and they're going to do this and that. It's week 8. No, they don't. No. There's a difference between tanking and then losing because you're bad. There's a totally different mentality because the teams that are trading pieces away, they're bad. They're bad. So there's a difference between I'm legitimately yanking Carson Wentz off the field because I want to lose on purpose, and then just flat out losing because you're not a very good football team. And there seems to be this separation where people can't, or a lack of separating the two. Tanking and going through a process like the 76ers went through, and then just being a bad team, are two totally different scenarios. The Lions aren't tanking. They fucking suck. but they're going to come out on that top of the draft order with a first overall draft pick. All right? I mean, it's two totally different things. If we had a better quarterback, Sirianni would look better. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. I guess you can't really say that in today's era, though. I don't want to offend anybody. But that's pretty much the mentality there. Yeah, of course. If anybody had Aaron Rodgers, they would look better. Bruce Arians wasn't labeled a championship caliber head coach. You get Tom Brady. Now he's winning Super Bowls. He might have 2 Super Bowls by the end of it. Couldn't get one with Arizona. He gets Tom Brady, the best quarterback to ever do it. Now he's going to be looked at as possibly a 2-time champion. If not, at worst case, a one-time Super Bowl champion. What happened to my job at the radio station? Nothing. I work at 97.5 The Fanatic. I was on this past weekend. I'm on again this weekend coming up as well. It's too early to kind of break down the schedule for next weekend, but nothing happened to it. I'm still on 97.5. They will only have played like 2 teams with above 500. What do you mean? Well, yeah, I mean, we kind of know that they're going to beat the teams they should, and they're going to lose to the teams that they should. I mean, it's just going to be, that's going to be where it comes, and that'll give them that 6-win level of season. That's basically where we're going to be at, which is what we thought heading into the year. Like 3-5 is basically what we anticipated, right? At this point, if we're looking at a 6-win football team, 3-5 after 8 games, the win-loss is basically where you're at. But then it comes down to, it was never really about the win-losses anyway. It was about learning who your quarterback is, learning who your head coach is, learning about this young coaching staff. And unfortunately, it hasn't been as smooth as I would have liked. And we'll see if they find out any answers, though, on, okay, we now have more information and data on the usage of Jalen Hurts, what works, what doesn't work, what works with our line of scrimmage, the run. But the problem is, like, this shit should have been known from day one. You did not need 7-8 weeks. Some of it was malpractice, where it shouldn't take any NFL head coach 8 weeks for them to even be in this position. Oh, that's right. Running the football more than 2 times makes sense. Like, no shit, right? That's obvious football 101 information that you should know the day that you are hired. So I hate sitting here saying, well, it seems like they're trending in the right direction because they figured it out. Well, yeah, they should have figured it out a long time ago. Is it Overreaction Monday? It's always labeled Overreaction Monday, no matter what. It's always that. Like, that's just the label of it. What is it? Quarterback Monday? I don't think that doesn't sound right. Quarterback Monday. What is it? It's something quarterback. Monday morning quarterback. Is that what it is? I don't know why that doesn't sound right either. I don't know what it is, but if I were the Eagles GM, I would focus on getting a stellar defense next year in the draft. Let's try and get back to those Jim Johnson defense. Well, I mean, everyone's so obsessed with the Jim Johnson stuff. I don't give a damn if you label it with Jim Johnson or not. You just need better defense. Yeah, you also need a quarterback, though. You need a quarterback. You need a defense. You have $30 million with the Carson Wentz contract, though. That's going to significantly help you and give you the opportunity to maneuver around and grab some free agents and help you grab some players that can help impact for sure. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The problem is you also need a quarterback. So you need a quarterback and a lot of defensive players. You need a safety. You need a linebacker. You need help on that defensive line. You need a cornerback because outside of Darius Slay, right now it's Steven Nelson, but he signed to a 1-year veteran deal. Who's going to play on the outside of Darius Slay? Avonte Maddox has been stellar in the slot. I tried telling everybody that he's just fine. There were people that wanted to write him off insanely because, unfortunately, they did not have many options to play on the outside last year, and you put him out there, and he got exposed. But that's not what suits him best. That's not the best idea for him, but you had to because Jim Schwartz literally had 0 options other than putting him there. They tried Cravon LeBlanc. They tried, and I mean, you had Roby Coleman in the slot area, and he stunk out loud. And I mean, it was tough. He's so tiny, you can't throw him on the outside. You had 0 options. Now, though, he's back into his home. He's back into his natural position, and he's playing smooth, and he's playing really, really, really smooth. We need to get rid of Howie. Yeah, I mean, we know that's not going to happen, though. So to sit here and scream and demand it, it ain't happening. Not this year. It ain't happening. Jeffrey Lurie's got to give him the opportunity to maneuver around the assets that they have. The $30 million with Carson Wentz and all, and the draft picks. I mean, let's be real, though. I'm not telling you that this is the end-all, be-all, but to act as if any general manager lands you 3 first-round draft picks the way that Howie Roseman set them up this year is just not true. That deserves credit. That deserves recognition. That's savvy for them to be able to land the Miami Dolphins pick and for them to be able to get out of that Carson Wentz deal. Now, it's sort of the whole you light the house on fire and then you're getting credit for putting the house out after you set it up in flames. I understand that completely, but to act as if any general manager is setting you up with all the assets and compensation that they did. I mean, they got a conditional. They almost get a 5th-round pick for Joe Flacco. Hell, that's what they got for Zach Ertz. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous as well. That's the relationship with the Jets, with Joe Douglas, and that absolutely plays a role as well into this. But, something just to think about is not every general manager is landing you the compensation that we're excited about to set this franchise up. The problem is their execution on the draft pick side of things as a front office has been piss poor with the combination of Lurie and Howie. It's not all Howie. Everyone says Howie sucks. Howie's pick. No, if we know Lurie impacted Jay Jaw, we know Lurie impacted Jalen Hurts. You can't just pretend that all these other picks that we're not hearing any noise about, there's zero impact from Jeffrey Lurie. No, he's involved. All right, because this analytical data that they use to project the Jalen Ragers, the Davion Taylors, all this, it comes from way above. It comes from the way that they really love the number game, and that's Jeffrey Lurie and how he's obsessed with that side of things. Yeah, the drafting is bad. The drafting is bad as of late. There's no denying it. See, but that's where I'm like, everyone just like, how come when you know that the owner has made picks that now that's ruled off and like it's all Howie? Yeah, but only those 2 were Lurie's pick. Oh, yeah, okay. You're right. Because it's only 2. No, I mean, Lurie's the bigger issue here than Howie Roseman. I mean, oh, yeah, but those were the only 2. No, that's not how this works. He probably has a lot more say and a lot more decisions than you're giving him credit for, which is a problem because a lot of these decisions are very piss poor. And then you say, well, then Howie needs to step up as the GM and tell him to go kick rocks. Then Howie's fired. And Howie doesn't want to be fired. Lurie hires people that will say, yes, sir. The tough-nosed guy that you want, the hard-nosed guy that goes, screw you, Jeff, that's not even an option to be hired. That person's never getting hired. So, yeah, that says you have an owner issue at this point. What are my thoughts on Devontae? I think that the quarterback play is hurting his statistics this year, let's say. I think that there's some growing moments. There's some growing pains involved, growing curve, learning curve, knowing that he's young, knowing that he's skinny, that he's small, playing against grown men. But he's a baller, like the kick of play. The kick of play in the NFL, it's just going to take years for him to kind of develop and for his body to grow and for him to get bigger and for him to bulk up and then for him to continue to learn how to play at that weight, considering, it's different when you add 20, 30 pounds to your body, that your movements and all of that, you have to kind of readjust your body as well with that and the route running and all. There's this big pile of things that you have to kind of learn at this league. And yeah, when you have a quarterback that isn't great at throwing, it definitely does change. So I think it's a combination of a little bit of everything. He's good. We can see the talent level is there. He's got to bulk up. He's got to learn. The quarterback is also not strong at throwing the football. So it's a combination of everything. I think he's a player. I think he's going to help out this franchise for a long period of time. He's going to be a difference maker for the Philadelphia Eagles as we continue to watch Sundays for years to come, for sure. Well, he did hire, exactly, and it failed miserably in terms of, not on, you go 10-6, 2 years One year you don't make the playoffs because 10-6 wasn't strong enough to. It still was a good season. On the field, it was fine. It failed miserably in terms of giving him all the power in the world to make franchise decisions. And because of that, maybe that was the difference where, hey, we tried it, and then we ended up giving away Deshaun Jackson. We ended up giving away LaShawn McCoy. We're not going to give that power to somebody again, and now he's holding his cards close to his chest. And that one decision impacted the way that Jeffrey Lurie is now viewing everything, and it's clearly hurting where they are right now. That's for damn sure. Well, no. I mean, Jamar Chase. Are you just forgetting about Jamar Chase and the way that he's been playing with Cincinnati? But you're saying that. Guess what? If Aaron Rodgers had Devontae Smith, you're not talking about Devontae Smith in that way. If Tom Brady had Devontae Smith, well, he's a little bit different because he spreads the ball around and things like that. Aaron Rodgers has Devontae Smith and says, all right, let's have a field day. Let's us two just go beat up on a team where it's nonstop. Let's just continue to throw the ball to each other kind of thing. But, yeah, I mean, if Aaron Rodgers has Devontae Smith, you're talking about a bad team with a rookie head coach. Think about that. If you had an experienced offensive coach, a Sean McVay, a Kyle Shanahan, compared to a first-time play caller that ran the football 3 times in one game before. There's so many reasons into why Devontae Smith is having the season that he's having. Imagine being a wide receiver when the defense knows that you ran the football 2 times last week, when you ran the football 3 times. You don't think they're going to be playing a passing defense? You don't think they're going to have numbers in the defense that's going to be significantly harder for the wide receivers to get open and create separation because they know you're going to pass the ball 98% of the time, 96% of the time, 94% of the time? Of course it is. So there's so many variables on why you're witnessing what you're witnessing. Ultimately, the kid's going to be a player. What's the biggest need? A quarterback. A quarterback. A quarterback is the biggest need. You do not have a franchise quarterback. You just have a guy. You just have a guy. I don't even know if you just have a guy. Ryan Tannehill to me is just a guy. I don't know what Jalen Hurts is, but he's not your franchise quarterback. The biggest need is a quarterback. No, I am not trading Fletcher Cox. Derek Barnett, yes, I'd be more open to trading him, but you're not going to get much for him. But yeah, sure, I'd grab some compensation for Derek Barnett if possible. Fletcher Cox, no, I'm not trading Fletcher Cox for a mid to late round pick. That is not worth it in my opinion. There's enough left in the tank of Fletcher Cox, even though he's not in his prime anymore, to keep him over anything mid to late round pick for sure. I don't know why people are labeling Devontae Smith as mediocre though. And I know you're using air quotes here, but I think he looks better than mediocre. You can clearly see he's got a skill set that's better than mediocre. Yeah, I don't see the mediocre side of it. So for the people saying that. Yeah, no, I think a lot of people see that, though. I'm not like the only person in this city saying that Hurts is not the guy. I think everybody on the airwaves here in Philadelphia has basically seen what I have seen, which is he's not good enough. Yeah, not at all. Gut reaction. Do the Birds have a shot at knocking off LA? Yeah, they opened up as a 3-point dog at home. Now, this line was super short, and it ended up being a massive blowout, but it tells me that the Eagles have a fighting chance in this. If they stick to the game plan that they just won with, yeah, they can. Yes. Will they stick to their game plan that they just won with? I don't know, because they haven't before. They showed creative signs in the past, and then their next game, they overthought things, they overcompensated things, and then they ended up getting, right back into their flaws where what they just did was a recipe for success, especially against the Chargers, running the football. Nick Sirianni had problems when Jonathan Gannon couldn't get off the field, and he was pissed and bothered by it. Use that knowledge to your advantage, Nick, where you can do the same thing to other teams. Let your offensive line run block. Run the football. There was an 11-play, 90-yard drive that you executed perfectly. It started with, just good running the football and utilizing your legs, keeping the opponent off the field. The same thing can be said with Justin Herbert on the sidelines, hanging out with the helmet underneath of his arm, waiting to get into the action. Use that knowledge to your advantage, knowing how frustrating it is being an offensive play caller and not having that available because the defense can't get off the field. do the same to the Chargers. Not good, Savion. Not good. I believe actually 32nd. NFL run defenses this year. They are, I heard Ray Diddy talk about it. Where is it? Hold on. They are second to last at this point. They're 31st. The Texans are now 32nd after this week. So the Chargers are 31st in the league. The Lions were 30th. Just to put it in perspective on how you were able to attack them and be so efficient at it. Well, they were 30th. The Lions were. The Chargers are 31st. So the Chargers are actually worse than the Lions are with allowing rushing yards. So can we be better, please? Yards per carry, they're last. So yards per carry, the Chargers are 32nd in the league. They are dead last in yards per carry. In touchdowns allowed, which is not even close to the same level of statistic, but they're somewhere probably more in that mid-20 range. So they stink. To answer your question, they stink. No. No. How is Taysom Hill and Jalen Hurts exactly what they got? I don't even see the correlation a little bit between Taysom Hill and Jalen Hurts. One is an actual quarterback. The other guy's this gadgety tight end. Jalen Hurts is not a gadgety tight end. So I don't even see that even close to being the same thing. Jimmy says, I was never a Jalen Hurts guy, but I think he's premature to already be out on him. He's only played 12 NFL games. Yeah, but you don't have the luxury of giving him time based on the way that you have the draft picks next year. So unfortunately for him, you don't have the time to wait. The time is not on his side because of the compensation. You're going to draft second overall next year. You're just going to take that for granted and say, oh, well, we can draft second overall any draft. No, you can't. You can't draft second overall in any draft. You are in a position to take advantage of that draft capital to land yourself a quarterback. Time is not there. And at some point, whether it's premature or not, you have to pounce on that opportunity because that opportunity does not happen. You maneuvered through the draft in years past to go get Carson Wentz, but you also lost on draft picks where, well, why did you not have a draft pick before that when you only got Dallas Goedert in the second round? Where was your first round draft pick? Where were your draft picks later on? You had to give them up to do that. Right now, you have the advantage to take a quarterback now, right now. There's no waiting. Right now is the time. So it's unfortunate. You don't have the luxury to wait. Now, Marky Mack goes back to the whole they have a Taysom Hill thing and says, well, he's a backup quarterback. That's like saying any backup quarterback in the league. Well, that's what you have in Jalen Hurts. Why does it have to be Taysom Hill? It could be any. It could be Joe Flacco. It could be any backup quarterback. It could be Cooper Rush. They're not even close to Taysom Hill. We don't know that. I don't know. It only takes one team to draft somebody higher. So I don't know if he would have been drafted. He was projected to go mid-round, but just like the Eagles, where he was projected to go fourth round, and they took him in the second. And that happens with a lot of people. Week by week, fans are saying he's only played 10, 11, 12 games. Next week, we'll be saying he only played 13 games. Well, let's be real, though, Pat. There is validity to saying he's still, 16 games is you're no longer a rookie. He's still a rookie. And to say in 12, 11, 10 games, that is small. That's not a big enough sample size. In reality, in theory, yeah, there's validity to saying it's too early to give up on a quarterback. You just have to remember that there's a correlation here between all the draft picks that you have, and this is the time now to fix that issue. You don't have time to wait. So there is validity to that, though. There is validity to say. It's like Nick Sirianni. At the end of this year, no matter what we see, no matter how upset we are, giving a head coach one season is unfair to the point where you have to give him a second season because it's not justifiable to say after 1 year, he can grow, he can't grow, he sucks, he's bet whatever, or the future of him, you don't know. It's very unfair to do it. It's the same with the quarterback, but difference is with the head coach, compensation and draft picks don't add into the equation. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me this morning. You guys are fantastic. Let me tell you about my friends over at BetQL. Do you want to get an advantage over your sportsbook? Well, then download BetQL. It's the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year. Their model covers everything: spreads, over-unders, player props. Their sharp data so you can see who the professionals are backing. Line movements, you can jump on betting opportunities in real time. Team lineup, breaking news, and injury status updates. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store and download BetQL. Enter the discount code BRODES at payment checkout for 25% off any of their subscription offerings. You can find their information in the description down below. I think that whether Hill was brought up, Hill was not brought up, I don't see a correlation at all in how he's being used. At all. Not even a little bit. But with that being said, they also said they're a quarterback factory. They said a lot of things that doesn't make a lot of sense. So, to be fair, what they say sometimes is kind of head-scratching as it is. With that being said, I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today. I love y'all. We got some conversations having the Sixers play tonight. So I didn't talk about their game against the Atlanta Hawks. I'll add that into the conversation tonight after the Portland game. So we have the Sixers on. We have Nick Sirianni speaking. We have anytime hotline calls to react to last night. If you did not call in yet, I'll drop the phone number in the chat. You can give this phone number a call. Leave your thoughts on the Eagles game. I'll use it for the Anytime Hotline podcast today. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys later.